Good Tuesday afternoon, everyone. My name is Max Efron. I'm the Public Affairs Officer at the Northern Arizona VA Healthcare System here in beautiful Prescott, Arizona. Welcome to another beautiful day in the Central Highlands of Arizona. Whether you're out in Prescott, Prescott Valley, Chino Valley, Dewey, Humboldt, or elsewhere in the Yavapai County area, thank you for joining us. For our regular listeners out there, you may be familiar that VA Day used to be on the first Tuesday of every month in the morning. Well, times are a-changin'. VA Day will now be taking place on the second Tuesday of every month from 4 to 5 p.m. So this is a little bit of a shift for us, but nothing we can't handle. And what is VA Day for those who haven't tuned in before? Well, it's an opportunity to learn about our local Northern Arizona VA healthcare system here in Prescott. We have multiple locations throughout Northern Arizona. It covers 65,000 square miles, all the way down as south as Anthem, as north of Page. If you go west, you get to Lake Havasu, Kingman. We have clinics out there. We also have clinics on the Navajo and Hopi Nation. So we serve about 34,000 veterans over a service area of about 65,000 square miles. So every second Tuesday of the month from 4 to 5, we're going to be talking about what we've been up to at the VA, as well as opportunities for our local veterans to take advantage of and look forward to. So today we have quite a bit of information. The fall time, the springtime, those are our busiest seasons when it comes to outreach, comes to events, when it comes to opportunities for veterans to engage. And so we want to cover some of that information. We always bring on a couple interesting guests. So we're going to go right into that shortly here. I just want to say thank you for always having us out here. And for all our veterans out there, thank you for your service. So we're going to get started. Our first guest is Bruce Nogar. Now, Bruce is currently serving as the temporary DAV Transportation and Hospital Service Coordinator for Northern Arizona VA. He hails from Tucson, where he serves as the DAV Transportation Coordinator for also Southern Arizona VA. But don't think he can't juggle both jobs. He's a true professional and a tireless advocate for our veterans' transportation needs. Bruce, welcome to the show. Why don't you start by introducing yourself a little bit? You're a veteran yourself, correct?
Yes, I am a veteran, 23 years in the Air Force, retired out of Davis-Monthan, and I've been with the DAV for about 11 and a half years now, doing the transportation network, and loving every minute of it. It's great to be able to provide a service to our veterans that don't have a way to get to the hospital to their appointments. So it's quite an honor to be able to help with doing that.
Yeah, how long have you been doing this, by the way?
About 11 and a half years.
Wow, okay. And maybe, you're obviously the best person to talk to, but give us first a general sense of what the DAV is and what DA Transportation Network is all about, just kind of an overall, summary of what we're talking about.
Okay. The DAV Transportation Network, we're an all-volunteer force. We're in every VA across the country, and we're the only outside organization that's allowed to come in and augment the VA patient travel, the other transportation system. We get vehicles donated either through monetary through citizens or through the chapters that we have. We have 15 chapters throughout the state. And then we purchase the vans, and of course we can't afford to maintain them and insure them and fuel them, so we donate them to the VA, and they become VA government property. And they allow us to use those exclusively to transport the veterans to and from. And right now we've got a satellite dispatch office in Flagstaff, Lake Havasu, and eventually we want to try and get one set up in Anthem, but when COVID hit, everything kind of slowed down, and it was on the back burner for right now. But eventually, we're going to try to get Anthems set up for back and forth to Phoenix and trips like that.
Excellent. Right on. So one thing, just to kind of give you, our listeners, an idea of the scope and the amount of work that these volunteers do to get veterans to and from their appointments and get them around where they need to be. Just give us a sense of how many drivers do we have, and how many hours do they put in, how many miles do they put in, information like that?
Well, right now the bulk of our drivers pool is in Flagstaff. They're they do all the reservations and the veterans from the reservations and our veterans that are based or live there. So we do. I think if I remember correctly, last month we did just out of Flagstaff we did 70 veterans. And Havasu, we do a lot of Phoenix trips, and they did 5 Phoenix trips last month. Like I say, it's a little slow right now because it's too hot. A lot of the folks haven't come back yet. Mm-hmm. Basically, the drivers will get up. We start picking up veterans for 8 o'clock appointments around 7 or earlier, depending on how far they live out. And they can work all the way up to 1, 2 o'clock, waiting for them to get done. We do community care appointments, so that could be an extended day for them. They're a great crew. Prescott has 4 drivers right now. I just lost one. He got a job, so he's no longer volunteering. And there's 4 drivers out of Lake Havasu right now.
All right. Yeah. And so, obviously this is a critical service because, especially in northern Arizona, it is, as I said, 65,000 square miles of coverage here. And we have 11 different facilities, actually 12 counting our main hospital here. And each one is just, very spread out. Sometimes just to get services for those, especially on the reservation or up in, the most rural areas of our service territory, they sometimes, veterans have to drive multiple hours to get to, their appointments, whether that may be at a VA clinic or a community care clinic. So, I suppose just kind of putting that into perspective, these drivers are sacrificing a lot of their time, but they're doing it for a terrific service. And, how about you can talk a little bit about the DAV, is the only outside organization that's allowed, right? I think you said that, to sit in the VA across the country. Yes. How is it that the DAV is the only one to do that? Do you know a little context of why DAV was the only one invited to be the insider?
Well, it happened back on the onset when the DAV started. We had a partnership with Ford back in the 20s, and Henry Ford donated a bunch of vehicles because he saw the need for veterans needing to get to their appointments, and most of them were on horses and couldn't afford vehicles. So he worked a deal with the VA, and the VA has been hospitable to us ever since. Pretty much it.
That's terrific. And you mentioned that you guys are always trying to get more drivers, trying to expand services. And so one of the areas you said was it Lake Havasu City? Is that you guys are trying to get additional drivers right now?
Yeah. Lake Havasu, we need at least 4 to 5 more drivers to bring us back up to speed, because we want to start taking veterans to the CBOC there. We've been only bringing them to Phoenix and the Prescott Hospital, but we want to start doing the CBOC now that the new CBOC's open. So yes. Oh, and we also had a satellite dispatch office in Bullhead. What's the CBOC there in Bullhead? Is it?
Oh, in Kingman?
Kingman, yeah. We had a CBOC there in Kingman where we had a satellite dispatch office, and when COVID hit, that dropped out. So we want to try and get some drivers and dispatchers up in there as well, so we need office workers. I need probably at least 5 or 6 drivers for Kingman, and so we can get back up to speed and even provide a better service up in that area. Right now, Patient Travel is trying to do a bunch of trips that we could be helping them with.
Right, and maybe give us a sense for any of those who are interested in becoming a driver. What is required to do that?
Okay, you've got to have, of course, a clean driving record. Will be checked. VA will do a background check, and they will do a physical. And the physical is pretty basic. They just got to make sure you can squat and bend over. And, your eyes need to pass, of course, to drive. And it's all paid for by the VA. If you volunteer, we even bring you in for those exams. And then once you get vetted with the background check, you get your ID card, and then we put you to work.
Excellent. And aside from the qualifications that are needed, what is the amount of time someone should expect to have to devote to this if they want to be a driver?
It could take up to 3 months. It's not a quick process. They go through a couple stages of the background check. I've talked to them about it, and definitely a waiting game, because we got to be safe and secure and make sure not only is the driver healthy, but they can pass the background check as well. And then 2 to 3 months.
Right, great. Well, Bruce, we're going to take a quick break here in a second. I just want to say we're going to pick back up in just a moment, talking about DAV and some of the efforts that you guys make to really serve our veterans throughout northern Arizona. So just hang in there, and we'll be right back. And good afternoon again. My name is Max Efron, Public Affairs Officer at the Northern Arizona VA, and we've been talking about DAV with Bruce Nogar. Bruce is, just to introduce him again, he's the Transportation and Hospital Service Coordinator for Northern Arizona VA, as well as for Southern Arizona VA. So he's got his plate very full right now, but he's been doing an excellent job keeping our drivers here in Northern Arizona for the DAV, getting our veterans around where they need to go for their appointments, both at our clinics and in the community. So, Bruce, I just want to touch back. We were talking about volunteers, what they need to do to get involved, and I guess was there anything else that folks should know about? Let's actually, if you're talking to a veteran and they want to, get a ride, who do they need to contact? How do they do that?
Well, they would call our line at the main switchboard, and our extension is 6064. We need a minimum of 3 to 5 business days, not including weekends and holidays, because the vans could fill up fairly quickly. The appointments have to be scheduled between 8 and 11, and they have to be ready to go home no later than noon. And we accommodate, and they have to be 100% ambulatory, because we use volunteers. They're not trained to provide any assistance, so the passengers must be able to get in and out of the van on their own.
Okay, that's good to know. And so you said if people want to get that ride, so they have to call the main switchboard, which, for the Northern Arizona VA is 928-445-4860. Again, that's 928-445-4860. It's our main number. And then you said, was it 6064?
Yes, 6064.
Okay. And so they just requested ride. How much in advance do they need to request that ride?
A minimum of 3 to 5 business days, not including weekends and holidays.
Okay. And, so is there anything else that folks should know, either whether they're a veteran or they're someone interested in volunteering, or just, an interesting tidbit about the services up here in Northern Arizona that you provide? Just giving you an opportunity to kind of anything else that comes to mind?
Well, right now, we are almost finished with the onboarding process with a new transportation coordinator. So once he's got his initial background, everything is done. He's got his ID card, his email address. He just needs to get the computer access. We envision within the next couple of weeks, I'll go up there and I'll get him trained. And then he'll be able to really get out there. We'll do the round robin, go to all the sites, and start really heavily advertising and pick up our passenger load again. We're moving along. I'm going to be happy to help him get up and running, and then Prescott will be back full steam with the DAV transportation.
Excellent. And I will just throw in a big thank you to the DAV. They provide on-campus transportation shuttling here at our Prescott VA Medical Center, our Bob Stump VA Medical Center. We have 2 vans that they have provided us to do shuttling on campus. And if anybody ever gets to campus, they can't find a great parking spot, they have to park a little bit further away for their appointment, they can always call 928-776-6013. That's 928-776-6013. And that will connect you to CDCE, which is our facility, our office at our facility that answers the calls for those shuttle requests. And we will have a driver come to you wherever you are on station, pick you up, bring you to your appointment, and then whenever you're done with your appointment, you can call that number again. They'll drive you back to your car. That just alleviates some of the pressure. I know parking is not always as convenient as it could be, and so we try to provide that opportunity. But that is only because of the support that DAV provides through the vans that they give us. So, Bruce, one last chance. Is there anything else that you'd like to mention?
Again, we appreciate everybody's support with the DAV. We're here to take care of our veterans. Like I said, we're going to get our new guy up there, and we'll get him up to speed, and I'm sure you'll see him around campus getting everything running.
Sounds good. Well, Bruce, thank you so much for joining us. We'll talk to you later, and have a great rest of your Tuesday. Now, I'm going to pivot to mention a couple events that are coming up that I would love for our veterans to come out to. These are not, we're not doing any of this for money. This is purely just in honor of, recognition days and ceremonies that we love to celebrate every single year. So one is our POW MIA Recognition Day ceremony. This is, one that we hold close to our heart, and we do this every year at our main facility here in Prescott at the Bob Stump VA Medical Center. And obviously, for this particular event, we're going to be hosting it on September 19th. It's a Friday. We try to make it convenient. Fridays are great days for parking, as well as most people are just a little bit more available right before the weekend. But we're going to do it Friday, September 19th from 10 to 11, just a 1-hour ceremony. And we're going to basically be honoring, those who have sacrificed for our country, as well as those that we continue to earnestly search for those that are missing. And we'll have an honor guard ceremony. We're going to have a couple guest speakers, and we'll also be, basically just having a moment of silence for our heroes that have served our country and who have sacrificed a lot. So we'd love to see a lot of folks come out to that one. As I said, Friday, September 19th from 10 to 11 a.m. And you can find all our events online at Northern Arizona VA Healthcare System. If you just type that into your preferred search engine, it will bring up our website. If you go to our events page, it's got a huge list of events that are going on this month as well as next month. So that one is coming up really soon. And then the day after is something that we like to promote because we are definitely involved in it. It's the 13th Annual Hope Fest. This is probably not the first time you've heard about it. As I say, it's been going on for 13 years. They do it downtown Prescott at the square, and this is a free community event. It's going to be on Saturday, September 20th, and this one in particular has pretty much a little bit for everybody. Family fun, live music, car and bike show. There's going to be resource fair as well as Fostering Hope Award. And this particular event, we tend to bring out all of our local resources. So if you are just curious in some of our programs and services at the VA, we're going to have probably reps there to talk to about pretty much anything that's on your mind. And it's just a very casual way to, share information and also have fun. So, you don't need to sign up. You just show up, free community event. And the opening ceremony, where they're going to be doing some talking, share some information about not only the sponsors for the events as well as what to expect, but that will be at 11:30 a.m. And then there's going to be, as I say, live music and speakers and the car show. So that one's really fun. We hope to see people out there on the 20th of September. And then I'll share one more before we hit our next break here. This one is the Yavapai County Stand Down. So if you haven't been to a stand down before, these events are really all-inclusive for our at-risk and homeless veterans. Those are the ones that this really is focused on. But if you're any veteran can show up to this, and there's going to be a huge amount of resources there, not only from the VA, but Arizona State Department of Veteran Services. There's going to be U.S. Vets is actually going to be hosting the event at their location. It's going to be at 1040 Whipple Street in Prescott. It's going to be Friday, September 26th from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. It's Friday, September 26th from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. And that Yavapai County stand down is probably the biggest stand down in northern Arizona. Usually we get over 100 veterans showing up, and there's going to be free food, free haircuts, free dog food, anything you can think of. So if you are a veteran in need, or if you know a veteran in need, please come to the event, talk to us. It's gonna be a lot of good stuff. So we're gonna take one more break. We're gonna take a break here at the bottom of the hour, and we'll be back in just a few minutes. Thank you. And we're back. Good afternoon. This is Max Efron, Public Affairs Officer at the Northern Arizona VA Healthcare System. So, we are going to be talking about recovery now. There's quite a bit of information here that we want to go over, and we have a specialist in the room. Elizabeth, why don't you introduce yourself first?
Hi, thank you, Max. My name is Elizabeth Pinson, and I'm a licensed clinical social worker here at the Northern Arizona VA, and I work in our intensive outpatient program for substance use disorders and addiction.
Excellent. How long have you been doing work at the VA?
Yeah, I've been at the VA now probably around 4.5 years, and I've been working in the field of addictions for over 10.
Wow. Okay. So the reason I brought Elizabeth in the studio today is because it is Recovery Month. And we have not only an event coming up, but we're going to be talking about substance use disorder awareness and a few other things about addiction and treatment and symptoms. So let's talk first about an upcoming event that everybody should be showing up to, right? Now, absolutely, right? Whether you're interested, whether you're someone who's recovered from substance use, or you're interested in the subject, or just someone who wants to support the community for those who are going through this. Let's talk about the Recovery Month celebration and barbecue coming up.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, we're going to have just a great event that's going to be happening on Tuesday, September the 23rd, from 11 o'clock to 1 o'clock. It will be at the Northern Arizona VA here in Prescott, Arizona. It'll be at the Ramada, so will be an outdoor event. Hopefully the weather will be good for us.
Right. For those who don't know where the Ramada is, so if you go to the center of campus, there's our largest flagpole right in the center of campus at our historic entrance. If you kind of shimmy back a little bit, there's a little overhang. We call it the Ramada. And there's a beautiful grassy area right there, right? So you'll have things set up in that area?
Absolutely. Yeah, we are going to have a barbecue, hot dogs, hamburgers, food. We're also going to have free T-shirts, free swag for veterans who do come to our event. But it's not just we have it open not just to veterans, but also to people, families, friends, people who support. We are going to have veteran speakers sharing their experience, strength, and hope with us about their journey in recovery. We'll also have other community partners there as well to be able to share services that they have currently for veterans and here in the community for folks who are looking to be in recovery or continue their recovery journey.
Yeah, and so folks who want to show up, it's, as you said, Tuesday, September 23rd. It's just for a couple hours there from 11 to 1. And, there should be probably some speakers of some sort. And, what can people kind of expect to learn about?
Yeah, so we will have speakers there. We will have speakers sharing their story. We'll also have speakers there kind of sharing with us about the services at the Northern Arizona VA that we do provide to help people recover from addiction.
Gotcha.
So it should be a lot of fun. Along with our speakers and along with the barbecue, we'll have other types of games that we'll be having, raffle. It should be just a really good time.
Okay, great. And so, I guess let's obviously we want everybody to show up to that event to learn a lot, but we're going to talk a little bit about substance use disorder and how, there is an awareness campaign that we're trying to get out there. So let's talk about the prevalence of substance use in general in here at our facility.
Yes.
Yeah, in Northern Arizona, I guess. Or is it nationally? What are we talking?
Yeah, I mean, we can even go nationally.
Yeah.
So I mean, over the past year, we find that 16.8% of people in the past year have had behaviors that could be indicative of a substance use disorder. That's close to 48.4 million people. Also, rates of substance use disorders can be higher with veterans, and about 25% of veterans who are diagnosed with PTSD, and that number may be 25% up to 33%, also have a substance use disorder. And so what these numbers really show is that, services are really needed, to be able to one, let people know that the services are there, and two, that it's possible for people to recover, for people to treat this, which is what we're doing here.
Yeah, and so I guess that unique factors for veterans that contribute to substance abuse. What would be some of those?
Yeah, I some of the unique factors can include, for veterans when they've had stressors of military service, right? Whether it be combat related or trauma, also chronic pain from service related injuries. Sometimes when we experience those things, um, we can find ourselves self medicating with alcohol or with another substance. Also, that change going from active duty to civilian life can be a big change, and that can also be a unique factor that can lead veterans to you know use substances to help cope.
Yeah, as you said, you use the word cope, right? So these
Mhm.
are kind of considered. I mean, is that an appropriate way of framing it as like coping mechanisms?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. It can be, using substances can be a way to cope, but oftentimes we find that the coping can be very, the benefits of it can be very short term, and after a while, we find that those negative consequences can outweigh that 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 short term relief that sometimes we can get from
Mm-hmm.
using substances.
Absolutely. And I see a figure here. In 2023, more than 1 in 10 U.S. adults ever had perceived that they ever had a substance use problem. So maybe break that down
Mhm.
for me a little bit.
Yeah, so the 1 in 10 U.S. adults, and that's in their not just in the past year, but in their lifetime, have they ever experienced a time where they have had problems with substances? And 1 in 10 say that they have, is what research shows. And of those adults, 7 out of 10 considered themselves to be in recovery, which I think is a pretty important number to look at because it shows that recovery is possible.
Right.
A lot of times we don't hear those stories of people in recovery, of the 7 out of 10 that are in recovery or have recovered. And I think, having months like this, having events like this where we're able to talk to the greater public, to really share that it is possible to recover. It is possible to be able to treat addiction. And I think that's important.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to take our first break of the second half here, and we'll be right back. And we're back. Max Efron here, Northern Arizona VA healthcare system. We're talking about VA and veterans, and right now, specifically, we're talking about recovery and substance use disorders and trying to get the awareness out there on not only the prevalence, but also some of the risk factors that affect our veterans. And we'll get into some other symptoms and treatments, but let's talk about the addiction risk varies based on 3 key factors. Is that right? So talk
That's
about,
correct.
share what those are.
Yeah, I think it's important to talk about this because I think sometimes questions can come up about, why do some people become addicted, why other people when other people don't, and we would like to kind of break that down into 3 key parts. One is biology, so genetics account for about half of a person's risk. Other factors as well, such as gender, ethnicity, mental health, also play a role in it. Um, the second part is environment. What we are surrounded by, who we are surrounded with, family, friends, economic conditions, life experiences, etc., can also influence addiction risk. Whether or not we were exposed to alcohol or drugs when we were younger, can play a role. And then lastly is development. Um, so, drug use during key stages of life, especially in adolescence, does increase risk for later development of substance use disorders.
Right. And some of these factors, obviously, there's a little bit of control. We have some
Mhm.
control over these matters, but some of it is out of our control to some degree, right?
Correct. Yeah. So, especially when it comes to biology, if, we're more at risk if we have a family member, maybe a mother, father, grandparent who has had addiction. We are more at risk to developing addiction ourselves than someone who does not have that biological factor. Now, granted, there are also people who have, people in their family who have addiction, and maybe they don't, but it does create a higher risk to have it.
Right, absolutely. So let's talk about symptoms. And so, can you share symptoms of substance use disorder? What some of those include?
Yeah, so some things just to watch out for and to be aware of, might be an increased urge to drink or use drugs, right? So maybe during the day, instead of just having that one drink on the weekend, you're constantly thinking about, I can't wait to have that one drink this weekend, and it's a constant urge to want to pick up a drink or a drug. Also, an inability to stop drinking or using drugs. So maybe you've noticed some problems in your an escalation in your drinking or drug use, and you've tried to stop, but it just isn't working.
Mm-hmm.
So that is another symptom. Also, drinking or using drugs in hazardous situations, such as drinking and driving. That's actually a symptom of substance use disorders. Also, changing um, having drinking or drug use, impacting relationships,
Mm.
um, feeling sick or experiencing withdrawal symptoms when drinking or drug use stops, right? So when we stop drinking, if we notice any physical things happening to us, whether it be shakes um, or other types of things, that could also be a symptom, and also an increased tolerance, where basically what that means is over time you need more alcohol to achieve or drugs to achieve the desired effect,
Right.
right? Like maybe 3 drinks isn't getting me the effect that I want, so maybe I will have one more or 5 more, in some cases, to be able to get the desired effect. So.
Right, right. So I think it's just kind of up to each individual, right, to kind of figure out, to determine whether or not they have a problem of some
Mm-hmm.
sort, right? To really acknowledge that. And so, how do you kind of assist with that? Sometimes people probably say, I don't have a problem,
Right.
right? So how do you talk to folks who don't really understand where they fall on the spectrum?
Yeah, and I think you just hit on a key part, which is the spectrum, right? We're all in different stages of where we are in the change process. We may not be quite aware of some of the things that might be happening when we are drinking, or maybe we just don't know. Maybe you just heard some of these symptoms and wait a second, that might be me, but I'm not sure. And that's why, being able to reach out and maybe talking to a professional who is in this field, and we do this every day where we talk to people who have questions about it, and we can help them, guide them where they would want to be.
Well, yeah, let's talk about that help, right? So let's talk about treatment. And so, what sort of treatment options are available to a veteran, here
Yeah.
in our community?
Yeah. I mean, we have so many things that we can offer here at the Northern Arizona VA. We have intensive outpatient programs here, which consists of psychologists, social workers, as well as a peer support specialist to be able to provide individual treatment, group therapy, as well as medication management.
Mm.
And we also have a residential care facility here at the VA called the domiciliary, which some folks may already be aware of. But we are a large facility that treats substance use as well as chronic homelessness and other co-occurring mental problems.
Yeah, so we're going to get into more depth about treatment here in just a moment. We're going to take our last break of the hour, and when we come back, Elizabeth is going to continue sharing some amazing information about recovery and treatment. Thank you so much. And we're back. Max Efron here with the Northern Arizona VA Healthcare System. One more time, I'd like to introduce, I have Elizabeth Pinson, right? Elizabeth, what is your title again?
Yes, I'm a licensed clinical social worker here at the VA.
Right. So Elizabeth and I have been talking about substance use disorders and Recovery Month and getting awareness out. We just want to finish up a couple thoughts here. So we were talking about treatment for substance use disorder, and so we have an intensive outpatient specialty care program. We have a domiciliary, and is that what we're referring to?
Absolutely.
Right.
Yes.
So, maybe just a brief description of what a domiciliary is and how that works here.
Yeah, so the domiciliary, it's a residential program, meaning instead of the intensive outpatient program where you can be at home and come into an outpatient setting and receive treatment, at the domiciliary, you would be staying at the domiciliary and receiving therapy as well as group therapy there and that type of care.
Right. And that's like a 90-day program, is that right?
It can be.
It can be.
Yeah, a lot of it depends on the needs of the veteran who's there and between them and their treatment coordinator.
Right. So just say if a veteran comes up, and first of all, how do they have to get a referral, or can they go directly to our mental health care? How does that work?
Yeah. So I mean they can contact us. They can also we have a walk-in clinic, and they can ask for a referral there as well. Our walk-in clinic is Monday through Friday in Building 161 on the second floor.
Gotcha. And so a veteran can come in, they can get scheduled, and then when you first have a conversation about, say it's the first interaction you've had with someone who's going through. They're not sure what they're going through, but they want to talk about it. How do you start that conversation?
Yeah, I mean, I think the way that I started is just really wanting to hear from them, like what is going on, and let's talk about it. To be able to have a space that is judgment free, and that is solution focused. I think being able to let people be comfortable, being able to talk about those things that are happening is important in that process for change.
Right, absolutely. And I feel like we have a couple more of these treatment options. Do you want to share a couple of those?
Absolutely, yeah. So in our IOP as well as our residential program, we are substance use specific, but mm, you know more importantly, we also talk about those things that are kind of underneath the substance use, right? What exactly might be driving some of the substance use? Maybe it's exposure to trauma, maybe it's depression, maybe it's other things, stressors at home. We can our providers are trained to be able to provide care both for the substance use as well as for the other co-occurring disorders that are going on.
Okay, gotcha. And addiction can be effectively managed is kind of one of the messages that we're wanting to get out there, right?
Absolutely, it is a 100% treatable. Now, we can't quite, you know, fix it, but what we can do is treat it, and so we do that through behavioral therapy as well as medication management. So there are medications, especially for alcohol use disorders, opiate use disorders, that can help with cravings, that can help, with staying sober from those substances.
Right. Excellent. And I guess I want to talk about some of the resources and kind of how to get in touch and whatnot. So let's talk about, first of all, how do we get in touch with the substance use disorder clinical team?
Yeah, so the best way to get a hold of us is by dialing 928 445 4860 at extension 5856. Again, that extension is 5856, and that is the best way to be able to reach our team.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how long typically does it take to kind of like what's the wait time to get an appointment scheduled and get care?
Yeah, I mean, for our intensive outpatient program right now, I think it's close to 2 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. But if someone's in urgent need of care, what should they do?
Yeah, if someone is in urgent need of care, I mean, we definitely recommend, going to the emergency department, number one, especially if you feel like you need that extra care or are worried about harming, yourself or someone else. Definitely going to the emergency department here at the VA or any emergency facility, you know, where that's closest to you. Also, if you're looking at trying to, being able to engage in treatment right away too, you can also, call our number and we can, if you're not at risk for harming yourself or any kind of medical needs, you can always call that number that I just gave, that extension 5856, and we can work with you.
Yeah, what if you're a family member or a friend and you notice this in someone that you care about? How should you have those conversations, or help facilitate the matter?
Yeah, oh my gosh, that's a great question. And first of all, I just want to validate too, sometimes how hard it is when we care about someone so much and we see themselves, and we see them hurting themselves, through drinking or drug use. And so there are different resources, for family and friends. One thing, SAMHSA, which is the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration, they have a wealth of information just for family and friends to learn more about addiction as well as support. How can I give support to my loved one? And that website is www.samhsa.gov.
Excellent. Well, Elizabeth, I just want to touch base. Is there anything else that we just didn't mention that might be worth mentioning before we wrap it up for today?
Yeah, I mean, I think we were pretty thorough today. Being able to talk about this subject that I'm pretty passionate about. I think any time where we can have a platform to be able to talk about recovery, and just let people know that, recovery is possible. Don't give up, and reach out.
Excellent. And I'll just plug one more time. We have the Recovery Month celebration coming up. It's a barbecue and some speakers and some great things to do. It's going to be Tuesday, September 23rd from 11 to 1 p.m. at our local VA here in Prescott. And a couple ones I just want to plug real quick. There's also going to be a 16th annual Vets Matter golf tournament. It's going to be on Saturday, October 4th. It's 8 a.m. is sign in. And it's a 4-person scramble. It's at the Prescott Golf Club in Dewey. So it's an opportunity to all proceeds will be going to the Prescott VA or Prescott veterans in general. And so, it's something that we always like to support and just say this event is coming out. We'll see you. Thank you so much for joining us for VA Day at the talking about Northern Arizona VA. I'm Max Efren. We'll see you next time.